So yeah, I think we all knew this video was going to come at some point. It was just how I was going to do it. I don't think I've spoken about Rolling in Love in too much detail. I've mentioned it obviously a lot of times. It hasn't been one I've done on the little Kilian things. Anyway, can't waffle on because this is going to be quite a long video, as you can tell. But first of all, I'd like to thank all the folks that took part in it. I really do appreciate it, including the people who were unable to take part in it but still supported it and still wanted to. But there's, you know, there's sometimes life takes over, or you can't find whatever. Anyway, I appreciate everyone, and I wouldn't be able to do it without yous. Obviously it's just the people were picked particularly because I knew they had Rolling in Love. I know some may or may not like it, you'll find out, I guess. And yeah, so it's just a quick kind of, is it an ode to Rolling in Love? It's one way of looking at it. It's just about what it means to different people as well as myself, just because it happens to be my favourite fragrance ever, really. So yeah, I'll get into it. So first up we have Smurfygurly over on, well, this is YouTube and Instagram, and that's Claire. Let's hear what Claire has to say.
Hello everyone. Rolling in Love. Rolling in Love, John's favourite fragrance ever in the whole wide world. What do I think of it? Well, I've got a bottle, so I mean that kind of tells you everything you need to know. But what I get from it, and let's spray a little bit on here. This is my second time filming. I filmed the first time in landscape. No, I filmed the first time in portrait mode, thinking it was for Instagram. It's not. So here we go. Second time lucky. Rolling in Love. I get from it instantly an almond biscotti. So a really gorgeous gourmand note. Delicious, mouth-watering, soft yet crunchy almond biscuits. Absolutely love that. Doesn't last very long, a few minutes and poof, it's gone, but it's delicious. You do get a little bit of the almond nuance for a bit longer, but for the first part of the fragrance is almost everything that there is to it. Then very quickly you start to get the floral note. So it is a tuberose note, but to me it's more of a synthetic white floral accord. So it doesn't smell like tuberose. To me it's not like a carnal flower, big and blousy. It's more like a mixture of a few different white florals, almost nondescript but very pretty, very smooth, definitely not sharp or screechy. And it feels like it's a syrup, so it's like the white florals are mixed with sugar water, and so it's quite a syrupy white floral. I still get the almond at the moment, so yes. As it dries down, you start to get the muskiness. There's an ambrette note. I don't know exactly how to pick out ambrette. I just know that there's a really gorgeous muskiness in here. And I'm finding a lot of my perfumes have ambrette, so that means I must really like it. I'm just still learning about it though. And it's really nice. And you have to wait for it. And then that is what it's all about. This gorgeous, like your skin, but better and sweeter, kind of musky, clean note. It retains the floral pretty much throughout, but the almond isn't there all the time. It's more about the florals and the musk, and kind of like just a general sweetness, a syrupy sweetness. I think there's probably vanilla in here. I can't remember the notes, but it smells like there's vanilla in here. It's not a big, loud perfume. So for me, it's not like a big night out perfume. It's more of an intimate date night kind of perfume. A one-on-one situation, not like that kind of thing necessarily, but I picture being in a quiet pub on a Thursday night with someone. You're looking in each other's eyes, you're laughing, you're smiling, the occasional touch, you know, just gives me that kind of intimate, flirty, sweet kind of situation. So that's where I think it would be perfect. Now, I don't have too many of those situations going on at the moment, so I wear it anywhere I feel. Whenever I feel like something quite sweet, it is one of my sweeter perfumes. So if I feel like something quite sweet and musky, then this is the one I choose, and I will wear it literally to Asda's or whatever. But I do feel like it smells really special, and that people are going to notice. If they catch a whiff, they're going to find it very, very attractive. I think it's a very attractive smell. So that's it. Thank you, John, so much for having me. Thank you for getting me into the perfume. If John hadn't sent me not one but 2 samples across several months, I probably wouldn't have got into it. It actually took me a little while to fall in love with Rolling in Love. I was slightly on the fence. Now I really absolutely do love it. Ta-ra!
Next. And now we have the fragrantician, Gabi, who's on YouTube and Instagram as well. So let's listen to what Gabi has to say there.
Rolling in love. I just want to go for a roll in the hay. But hey, here we are. This video I'm going to talk about rolling in love, because Rolling in Love is a fragrance that is by Kilian, and it is it a floral fragrance? I'm assuming it is. It contains iris, almond milk and musk. And let's go on the Kilian website. Let's just see what they say, shall we? I'm just going on the Kilian website here. So, shall we read what it says? Kilian's Hennessy inspiration, an addictive, intimate cocoon. Rolling in Love is a musc de peau, capturing the sensation of feeling so high on love that it seems to almost get under the skin. Working with perfumer Pascal Gourin, Kilian Hennessy took an entirely new direction. Rolling Love is more direct and less faceted than his previous fragrances, almost monochromatic. In its focused representation of a single emotion, Rolling in Love is a white scent, layering different textures along the scent trail with notes of ambrette seeds, almond, milk, iris and musk. And it's part of the narcotic family, according to Kilian here. Right, let's put that down to one side. Let's talk about Rolling in Love by Kilian. I sampled it, and I'm going to say now, I didn't enjoy it, John. I didn't enjoy it. It was too soft on my skin. It didn't perform. The almond, I wanted to have more of a pronounced, I wanted to be more bombastic. It wasn't bombastic for me. I can see where they were going, a feeling of just intimate. Well, John, I can't be intimate. Sorry, darling, I'm married. But for you, I would wear this fragrance if you'd want me to. But it's just too soft for me. It's not animalic for me. It just doesn't work, and I am still yet to find a Kilian that does work. The only one, I tell a lie, that does work on my skin is the intense version. Now that baby, that is check all the way. But this one, I'm afraid it just didn't work. Did it, Claude? Hey, Claude? No, it didn't. It just didn't work. It was one that I don't think I really want to purchase. And I have to say this, now that Estee Lauder has taken it over, who knows what it's like now. Who knows? I'm quite reserved. The same way with Tom Ford. So Rolling in Love is not for me. However, if you love soft, intimate, skin-like fragrances that has this lactonic milkiness, that has this feeling that you are wrapped in some cashmere, then good for you. But for me, I'm afraid I want to be wrapped in something else, and it isn't cashmere. But I can't really talk about that on this video, because if I do, YouTube would take the video down, or Instagram would take the video down. Damn those violations. Rolling in love. I want to be rolling in lust.
So thank you, Gabi, for your honest and kind of straightforward review of that. And next we have the wonderful, fantastic French lady Karine of Olfactive Stories here on Instagram. Let's hear what Karine says.
Hi everyone, my name is Karine from Olfactive Stories. Thank you, John, for inviting me for the collab. And yes, so today we're gonna talk about Rolling in Love by Kilian. So if you know me, you know that Guerlain is my favorite brand, and yes, I don't have many Kilian fragrances. There are only two that I really enjoy, which are Love Don't Be Shy and Rolling in Love. So I got this coffee, I believe it was for, yes, Christmas or Christmas offer with the lipstick and the fragrance. So yes, we're not going to talk about the lipstick, but today is more about the fragrance. And okay, so Rolling in Love, what's the story behind for me? I got a sample of this one, and immediately it reminded me of something I knew. And I thought that I really enjoyed the milky quality of this one, which is not common. Let's say I really don't like usually milky notes or lactonic fragrances, but here it's more like an almond milk, which is beautifully mixed with the tuberose, and I really enjoy that about this fragrance. This is what I really get the most with the ambrette also. So you really get this vegetal quality. In the opening it's quite fresh, and after that you have something really vegetal throughout the fragrance. So really at the opening, but also yes, through the whole wear, let's say, of the fragrance, I got this vegetal quality of it, and I really enjoyed it. Also, I really like this, yeah, I said this creamy almond, which is bringing something nutty to the fragrance. So you have this nutty tuberose with the beautiful tonka and comforting, yes, tonka in the background, which is, yes, really beautifully mixed with the tuberose and the almond and the ambrette. So this is what I really get, let's say, from this fragrance, and what I really enjoyed about it. And this is something that I found really attractive, really inviting. So this is more to me something like to be worn for a night out, or yes, or to go to bed. So usually this is how I wear this fragrance. So more to go to bed or to go out, or yeah, more for spring and autumn. And the fragrance that this one reminded me of when I tried it is Tuberose Castane by Maison Lancôme. So this fragrance is also a tuberose fragrance, a creamy tuberose, not really milky, but mixed with the nutty note also, with the chestnut, which makes it also quite inviting, not as much as Rolling in Love, I believe, because of this vegetal musk also. But to me, these two fragrances have lots of similarities. So yeah, maybe if you can find this one for a good price, because yes, also it's a 100 ml compared to a 50 ml. So yeah, but I really enjoy both. They still have something different that justify for me to get both. But yes, they have a common feel to it. Yeah, this nutty tuberose to it. So voilà, I hope you enjoyed my quick thought about Rolling in Love, and see you later. Bye.
Thank you, Karine, for another great video there. And who's next? And now we have the fantastic posh lady, who's certainly tried enough very expensive, wonderful fragrances, and that's Rose and Jones here on YouTube and Instagram, and that's Lizzie. So what did Lizzie say?
Thank you so much to my dear friend John of the Scentedsnowdrops for inviting me to talk about one of his favourite fragrances, or the favourite fragrance in his entire collection, Rolling in Love by Kilian. What is it about Rolling in Love that gets everyone so hyped up, or hot under the collar, or just feeling sensual? We don't do that word at Rose and Jones. This little guy here that John sent me, this is my sample of Rolling in Love. And it is pleasant. John talks about rolling in love with so much admiration, affection and appreciation. I mean, he loves Kilian, but this guy is his favourite, and that in itself is an indicator to how I feel about it. We generally don't cross over in our tastes. It happens on occasion, not very often. Soft almondy, milky almond fragrance with a very soft musk. As from florals, you don't really, I can't pick them out. The notes that stand out to me are the almond and this sort of milky musk. Ambrette is the star of the show here. Not a massive fan of ambrette. It does smell like milk, milky, mammal's milk, skin-like, that direction. That's not my kind of jam. I think John loves it for those reasons, because they are, it makes you feel comforted, it's slightly sensual, it's comfortable, it's friendly, approachable, but it has that sensuality about it. But that exact style of sensual, skin-like, milky musk, cuddly, get closer and sniff me, no, that's not the kind of fragrance that I go for. I go for a scent that says, what are you looking at? Get away from me. You're not going to cuddle me. I'm not going to cuddle you. Keep your distance. In all fairness, it's a very pleasant scent, and actually it does get compared an awful lot to a fragrance that I do have in my collection. I enjoy an awful lot, which actually is from Jo Malone, and that is the Scarlet Poppy. They have similarities. They both sort of smell beige in colour. They have this sort of powdery, almondy, soft, pleasant, inoffensive, angelic quality. This to me is much more powdery, but it has more of a gourmand approach. It's more like, well, it's not sensual. It has more of this sort of milky, lactonic quality, and I'm not one for it. That's the part I don't enjoy, is the slightly, not sour milk, but it's milky in a way that I don't appreciate it. So in conclusion, Rolling in Love isn't for me. It's not my jam. This guy smells like a Farley's Rusk. Rolling in Love smells like a Farley's Rusk that's been soaked in milk. It's milky. Nim, what do you think? Nimbus, what do you think? No, he's not.
So yeah, thank you there, Elizabeth and Nimbus, especially Nimbus. Your opinion matters more. I think you like it. Who's next? And now we have our favourite Geordie, ChantelTiffany here, and all the links are down below anyway if you don't get the names quite right. So what did the wonderful Chantel have to say about this one?
Hi guys, hope you're all okay. It's Chantel. Today what I'm doing is a review of a beautiful fragrance by Kilian, and it's called Rolling in Love. This is it right here. I mean, I think this bottle is absolutely gorgeous. I love all the Kilian bottles, but this red colour is just beautiful and I love it so much. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I think about this fragrance and how I found out about it. I was actually sent a sample by no other than the amazing Jon Snow. He loves this one so much. He sent us over a whole load of samples and this was one of them. And as soon as I smelled it, I fell head over heels in love with it. I really do think it's stunning. It was this one and Love Don't Be Shy Extreme that I fell in love with out of the bunch. I just think they're so beautiful. But this one is all about giving you that feeling that you get when you're like sort of high on love, whether it's new love or old love, any type of love that gives you that sort of high on life feeling. And that's what this fragrance was created with in mind. And I think it's such a good idea. And this one is really beautiful, and it does give you that sort of high on life and love feel, which I love so much. But for me, I get like a whole load of that almond milk in the top, and the ambrette is very, very strong for me, and it really, really stands out on my skin. And then you get the iris, which is usually not a note that I'm massively keen on, but in this it's blended beautifully and I really, really enjoy it in this one. It's like, the best way I can describe this is it gives us like a real buttery sort of vibe. It's smooth like butter, and it's soft, and it dances off the skin and gives that sort of airy, light, beautiful cloud-like vibe, which I love so, so much. We've got some white florals in there as well, and it's quite musky, especially in the dry down. And for me, this is such a comforting, relaxing type of scent, a scent that I would wear for myself only. Like, it sort of wraps you up in a great big nutty buttery hug, if that makes any sense at all. But I just find this one quite unique and really, really comforting, warming, and just absolutely gorgeous. I would even wear this one at like bedtime. It gives you that relaxing, cozy vibe. It's just so, so beautiful. And this one came out, if I'm not mistaken, in 2019, and it is one of my favourites from all the Kilians. You all know that I love like Love Don't Be Shy, Love Don't Be Shy Extreme. I really, really like Angel Share as well, but this one is right up there with those. It's really, really good. And for me, it lasts quite a while on the skin. I wouldn't say like it's a massive performer, but it lasts really well on the skin. It seems to cling to my skin for some reason, this one. And it does last a good, I would say I get a good 6 hours from it. But it is a little bit closer. People in close proximity are definitely going to smell it. But it just gives that nice, airy, nutty smell. It's got like such a beautiful, warming smell, which I really, really love. I will say that the almond note in the top comes off quite bitter to me in the opening. When I first spray it, I'm not like the biggest fan of it, but give it like 10 minutes and it smells so different and just beautiful. I don't know what it is. I think it's that like bitter almond vibe in the top, and maybe the ambrette that put me off the opening of it. But as I say, after 5-10 minutes, that's all gone and it just smells beautiful, and I find it an absolute pleasure to wear. I would definitely say that this one is 100% unisex. Definitely unisex, and it just smells amazing. And I get a lot of compliments of people when I'm wearing this one, but it does seem to be people in like my close circle that are really close to us. If I'm meeting a friend and I give them a hug or something like that, they always seem to compliment us on Rolling in Love, because it is such a beautiful fragrance. So that's my little take on what I think of the beautiful Rolling in Love by Kilian.
Thank you, Chantel. That was amazing as well, like all the others. So who's next then? And finally, we have Dr. Claire Smith, YouTube and Instagram, and again, they'll all be in the links. So what did our scientific mind and nose have to say about this one?
So, Rolling in Love, I don't really feel like I can give my thoughts and feelings around this fragrance without also framing them around John, because John was the one who made me try this fragrance, who sent me this fragrance. And I felt so honoured because I feel like this fragrance means so much to him. If you read his post, Rolling in Love takes him to very special times and places in his life. And to be let in on those feelings and thoughts is really quite a big thing for me. I think, you know, ultimately this fragrance is so special because it takes him there without actually having been present at those points in his life. And I think that's an incredible thing for a fragrance to be able to do. So when John first gave me this fragrance, it was Christmas last year, and I remember taking it home when I went to see my parents. And I wore this fragrance around the time between Christmas and New Year. You know, when you don't really do much, when you're sat at home, you're kind of lazing around, you're left to your own thoughts. And when I'm at home, I tend to look through objects, through nostalgic things that I've collected over the years. And I find myself doing things like reading old diaries, looking at dead roses ex-boyfriends have given me, looking at quartz hearts they've given me, reading their old letters, that kind of thing. And this fragrance just totally fits with the thoughts and feelings that go with those kinds of activities. It's a very nostalgic, very hazy fragrance. So what does this fragrance smell like? Well, overall it's a powdery, nutty, sweet, savoury, musky fragrance. It's got a very sort of nostalgic, hazy feel about it, and it starts off clearer and becomes more hazy as it progresses, almost like a memory does. It has a really subtle progression, and at some points I wonder whether it's all in my head and whether it's a linear fragrance. It is that subtle, but I think I do smell distinctive things at different parts of this fragrance's life. So initially it makes me think of those wafer shells that you get in Ferrero Rocher chocolates. Not the chocolate, not the inside, just the wafer. That kind of texture, but not really that kind of level of sweetness. It's more savoury than that to begin with. It has an almondy feel to it initially, but really that's smothered very quickly by the ambrette. The ambrette really takes over and starts to dominate the fragrance very quickly. There's also a background powderiness, almost like makeup-y kind of smells. It does get quite nutty at points. It reminds me a little bit of hazelnuts with their brown skin still on. There's a very light sweetness to this fragrance that drifts in and out as you're wearing it. There's a powdery texture that seems to build with the musks, but it's never cloying. I think the interesting thing for me in the midpoint of this fragrance is that there's a very, very light tuberose at the back of the fragrance, and that just gives a little bit of creaminess and just a little bit of something more. There's something a little bit interesting at the back of the fragrance that you can't really entirely work out. I think because you can't work it out, it smells very intimate. By the end, you're just left with a lightly powdery, a very, very soft, almost vanilla. Almost like you're smelling the hairs on an arm. It's got that really kind of hair-like muskiness to it. Like you are breathing in soft, warm skin that's slightly damp with the first signs of perspiration. John says that this fragrance reminds him of black opium at points, and I get what he means. He means that there's something almost like the memory of black opium. It's something that is like someone's been wearing black opium and they've slept in it, and perhaps it's what's left on their skin in the morning, or it's something that's left on their clothes, maybe even weeks or days later, or maybe even on some bedclothes. It's something that is the memory of the black opium having been there. It's something that smells like when the licorice and the coffee are long gone and you're just left with that almondy vanilla patchouli. On first trying this, I think it would have shocked me if not for John's reviews. I think this is where I can see parallels between this fragrance and John, because this fragrance is very much like John. It's very gentle and it's very subtle. It's not loud, it's not projecting. It's very low key, but it's so interesting. You really ask yourself what Kilian was thinking releasing a fragrance like this. And it's something that's just a little bit rawer, that's something a little bit less overt than a lot of their other fragrances. It's something that just smacks of immense confidence in their brand and their direction, and something that was really taking a risk. and I think it's paid off for them. I think from what I've seen, people really love this fragrance. So if you know me, you will know that I am obsessed with words and meanings. So rolling in love, what do I think of? What does it make me think of? I think rolling is a really interesting choice of word. Why would they choose a gerund? Why would they choose a doing word to name this fragrance? It's because it's a feeling from being in that moment, isn't it? It's a feeling that you're getting from literally rolling in love. But rolling, what can that suggest? That can suggest rotating. Well, it isn't that. It can suggest steady. I don't think it's that. It can suggest undulating, as in an undulating countryside. I really don't think it's that either. I think really the rolling is not like rolling in the deep, like Adele, John's absolute least favourite. It's rolling as in being carried away, as in being swept up in something that you can't help but be immersed in. It's the feeling that you get from being within some love you can't escape, some love that you've fallen deep within. I think the fragrance is essentially all about you and who you are letting close enough to you to smell that fragrance with you. It's just all about intimacy. I think from seeing other people review this fragrance, there is a definite split, there's a definite dichotomy in people's views on rolling in love. People either get it or they don't get it. And I think the people who don't get it want something perhaps different from a fragrance to the people who do get it. The people who don't get it want something that is loud and projects. That is not rolling in love. Rolling in love is gentle and soft. It's intimate. It's something only really for you and who's close to you. And I think the people who do get it are perhaps people who want more feelings and emotions from fragrance. And I'm not saying that either group is better than any other. People have different reasons for wearing fragrance, and that is absolutely fine. That's the world. But that's just an observation. So clearly my thoughts surrounding this fragrance have been highly influenced by John. And actually, you know, I wonder what my thoughts would have been without John's influence. What would I have thought? Would I have not got this fragrance, not understood it? Would it be lost on me? I don't know. But actually, I'm kind of glad that I will never know. I'm glad that I know John and that he's influenced me. So that's Kilian's Rolling in Love.
So thank you so much for that, Dr. Claire. It was a really wonderful and quite moving, obviously for me, kind of a review. Who's next? So obviously I'd like to thank all the ladies for their honest opinions and their great noses and discussing what it meant to them and how they feel about it and how they relate it to other people, etc. It was fantastic, and I almost feel like a fraud putting my opinion on the end of it, but of course, you know, I've got to do some work as well, haven't I? So what is rolling in love to me? Now this is one I probably smelled 2 or 3 years ago, whatever, from a little sample that I'd ordered from Nose Paris. It's irrelevant, not sponsored. Anyway, I got it and I sprayed it, and it was one of them that you spray it and you think, what's this? And then after like a couple of minutes of it being there, to me, I'm not going to go through the notes and everything because everybody else has kind of done it, but it opens with quite like this almondy cherry thing to me, mainly, and that's really quite nice. And then it slowly develops, and what it does is that initial kind of opening, like I'm going to go more into this after, but it's like that initial kiss, that rush of adrenaline and endorphins and what have you, and it's, but then it kind of, as you go more into the kiss, it kind of settles and it makes you go a bit funny. Well, me, and it's the musks. It's ambrette primarily, but there's a lot of musks in that. It's not quite that, you know, jump to there and there, but it's them feelings, smelling them musks give you, where you get all tingly all over and calm and relaxed, serene at one point, but also a little bit intense as the kiss gets more and more intense. And that's kind of what rolling in love is to me. But you could say there's a lot of musky fragrances. Ambrette is used in a lot of things, and that is of course true. There's something about this one. There's something Pascal Guillaume, and I will link Pascal the perfumer, because what he's done you know, wouldn't be me without a little rant. I've obviously done a little, you'll be able to tell I've filmed little clips of me walking down here, no wind. Talk about my own thing, the wind comes. Anyway, what the perfumer's done is he's kind of created that whole kind of feeling of love, I think, in this. The tenderness, the passion, the kind of the happiness, the serenity, and that intoxicating wanting more and more from it. And to me, I think I've said this many times, it specifically takes me to one particular point in my life, one particular person. I mean, the person is irrelevant, isn't it, now? But it's them feelings that can never kind of be reciprocated. And we all know this, well, maybe most of us aren't in love with one person forever, so we know it's always different. But this particular one, and it's that specific moment. And we'd gone for a walk that day, because she always dragged me for a walk. I think it's probably because I needed to lose a few pounds. But anyway, it was up this, we walked up this big massive hill. Anyway, when we got to the top, you could see the whole of the local city, which is Stockport, and the kind of big city just past it, Manchester. We're really high up, and it was beautiful. There was nothing for miles around apart from the cities on the horizon. And it was just, you know, when you just kind of sat there and you're practically looking down on the world. And I was sat with a girl who was, well, whatever, the love of my life at the time, maybe, who knows, whatever, and kind of resting into me, and just, you know, little kisses and stuff. It wasn't, we'll just focus on these particular parts of it, and it was just that, watching the world go by, and nothing else mattered. And Claire used this little thing in it, and it's what I get from it. She wore black opium, and what I think Rolling in Love, the perfect way of describing it is, it's a memory of black opium. It doesn't really smell like black opium. It's not the same. It's a lot softer, muskier. It's not as dark. It's not as much as black opium once it's dried down, but it's that memory. And that, to me, was what Rolling in Love is. It's like that sticking thing in my mind of that kiss, the memory of the kisses, the memories of the moment, and even the memories of the smells around us. And obviously, we've been walking, so we're sweating as well, but obviously we both were intimate with each other, so there's that smell of musks, not just the animalic, but the kind of soft, tender musks of somebody's skin and that. And this is why I think black opium is so special to me, it means so much to me. I also think it's quite unique. There have been, people say there are certain ones that are similar, like we've discussed in this. I don't think so. I don't think there's anything like this one. And nobody's managed to pull off the musks and the feelings and the strength of them feelings, the ability to take you to them really quite powerful emotions, aren't they? I don't think there's anyone I've ever smelt like that. Anyway, not to waffle on, but I think that's part of the reason I really love this one. Plus, obviously, I love the house of Kilian. And I love these more intimate kind of fragrances. And I think this will always be one of my favourites. And it will always be special. So that's my kind of thing of Rolling in Love. Don't really need a kind of conclusion. We've gone over it all. And again, just want to thank everyone for the time. As you can tell, I'm doing the conclusion. The wind has stopped. Yay! Anyway, thank you for watching. What about you? What's that very special fragrance to you? What takes you to them very special, powerful moments in your life? What represents love to you in a fragrance and whatnot? Alright, anyway, thanks folks. Bye.